Episode 4 of Dragon Ball Super, exactly what I was expecting. Mesase Doragon Boru, Pilafu Ichimi no Dai-Sakusen, which translates to aim for the Dragon Balls, the Pilaf gang's great strategy. Like I said, exactly what I thought last week. Another slice of life episode, little bit padded out, but let's go ahead and talk about it. So the episode starts out with Beerus and Whis heading to Kai's planet, and Beerus was not watching anime or Chinese cartoons if you watch the crappy fan sub. He was chowing down on some food that's nowhere near as good as the food that we have on Earth. Of course, Kai is still trying to convince Goku to go to Bulma's party because he might lose friends. But obviously, Kai-Osama has not been paying attention because Goku doesn't give a shit. He hasn't talked to his friends for years, and it's all good again. So, whatever. And then, of course, we go to the party, and the first thing I noticed is that Sumitomo's score for this, some new jingles here, really good stuff. I really enjoyed the music in this episode. Probably my favorite so far as music goes was episode 4 of Dragon Ball Super. 18 asks Bulma what the prizes for the tournament are going to be and inquires about one of the prizes being a plane. Why somebody who can fly would want a plane, I'll never know. But maybe it's fun to fly a plane more than just fly. I don't know. Bulma tells her, yes, there will be a plane, but there are better prizes. 18 remarks that they have an advantage because there's 3 in the family, which makes Chi-Chi mad because she wants Goku there. Simple comedy. And now we're going to get to the comedy expected. We go to some Goten and Trunks hijinks in the kitchen where they run through the boat and they find a room that has all the prizes for the bingo, with the main prize being the Dragon Balls, which were kept in a containment machine that prevents them from being detected by the Dragon Radar. So once Trunks shows Goten those are the big prizes, it triggers Pilaf's Dragon Radar to go off, and he's in disbelief, needless to say. He's so much in disbelief that he almost loses the Dragon Radar. And one thing that I immediately noticed is that Pilaf is there. We see him with Mai and Shu, and they are still children, just like in Battle of Gods. No explanation, at least from my translation that I saw, no explanation at all as to why they're still children. And even if they did explain it, one thing that kind of bugged me was the fact that they didn't show it. Like, why did they not show Pilaf making the wish and becoming a kid again? I still don't know how they became kids again, but they are kids again. Unless they're just really short, they look like kids again. Very, very weird. This is the kind of stuff I was hoping we would see in Dragon Ball Super, where they elaborate on some of the points made in Battle of Gods, and there's already been 2 different times where they kind of have slacked on that, in my opinion, of course. And so basically, Pilaf, Mai, and Shu start to paddle their boat, a little boat, to the SS Bulma, but it starts to sink. As they were about to get eaten by a shark, Goten and Trunks saves them. And again, I was a little bit let down that we don't even see how they turn into kids. I was hoping for a flashback or something. Goten and Trunks are being very nice and hospitable on the boat, and they feed them some amazing looking food. Of course, I thought it was also weird. This is the other point that I wanted to make, that Pilaf didn't recognize Goten, who looks just like Goku. That was kind of unusual, to say the least. You would think he would recognize him, if not Goku. Of course, their goal is to steal those Dragon Balls and I think make themselves adults again, even though in the Spanish sub that I watched, looks like Pilaf might have ulterior motives, such as like world domination or whatever. But of course, Goten and Trunks being very nice and hospitable to them was good, and it got them onto the ship. So they're there. They are there while everything's going on. So at the 20-minute mark of the episode, finally Vegeta is training, and of course one of Bulma's Capsule Corp secretaries comes in while he's training, and Bulma's yelling at him saying, "Get to the party, I'm your beautiful wife," and Vegeta's like, ugh. Literally like 2 seconds of Vegeta here, but it was a good 2 seconds. Then we go back to Goku training by himself. We see the first Goku Kamehameha in Dragon Ball Super, so that was pretty cool as he's training by himself. Very similar to what we saw in the extended cut of Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, even though I think he did it after the Beerus fight in that cut. Anyways, Goku figures out that Kai-Osama is hiding something, and finally Kai reveals that there is a god coming like a Kaioshin. And then finally Kai explains, that Lord Beerus is a god of destruction and he maintains balance in the universe with the Kaioshin, which is very similar to the monologue from the Battle of Gods Japanese theatrical trailer. In fact, he even said it in a very similar tone. And it is very similar to what we got in the last episode from the other Kais. Kai tells Goku to hide as Lord Beerus arrives, and the episode is over. In the next episode preview, we are going to get it, folks, just like I predicted, like we all thought it was going to happen. Episode 5 is going to have Goku versus Beerus in his SSJ3 form. The fight is not going to be exactly like how it was in Battle of Gods. It looks like it might be a little bit longer. However, I'm hoping it's not too long, because the important thing about that fight is to really, really, really put over how powerful Beerus is in comparison to Goku. And if they let that fight drag on, it's going to diminish the impact of the Battle of Gods, scene. So they really got to cut it short. Not saying it should be a very short fight, but it can't be that long. Remember, the whole purpose here is to get Beerus over as this killer, even though they've kind of done that already in the last 3 episodes or 2 episodes or whatever, the first 2. Of course, I got to talk about what everybody's talking about. 2 things. Number 1, the voice actor for Kaiosama, Yoji Yanami. A lot of people are curious about what's going on. Some people have been very disrespectful. Some people have been very curious and respectful. For those who don't know, Kai's voice actor is 83 years old, and there's been talk in the community that he's sick. That's why his performance sounds a little bit, off. I've heard some very disrespectful people claim that they think he's drunk, and KANZENSHUU is giving out automatic bans for saying bullshit like that. So be respectful. If you don't know, just ask, and I'm giving you the answer right now. He is very old, and a lot of folks might be wondering why don't they replace him. Very different culture in Japan, guys. Yoji Yanami and Masako Nozawa are the first 2 voices that you hear in Dragon Ball way back in 1986. You just don't replace voice actors unless they pass away. You don't do it in Japan. This is not like freaking over here where they have a new James Bond every 3 years. Doesn't work that way over there. So just giving you guys some knowledge so that you understand what's going on with him. He did a good job, I thought. But again, just keep in mind he is sick and he's not going to be the Kai from Dragon Ball Z. Also, the big elephant in the room was the art in this episode. The line art was very, very strange. I was going to make a joke at the beginning of the episode that Newgrounds Flash cartoons from 2005 present Dragon Ball Super, because it was very, very weird. It didn't bother me that much if the entire episode was like this, even though it would be jarring. But what made it weird is that there was very thick line art. I thought it was just going to be for Pilaf's moments, but no, it was for the entire episode in different points. I don't know if they have a different animator for this one. I don't know if the process was differently. It's very, very weird. It doesn't bother me, but I can understand it being jarring for some viewers, because you're going from one kind of animation to the other within the same scene. Very strange. Very, very strange. Hopefully this won't happen again. I'm really worried that Toei is going to be cutting costs for this thing like they have everything else, and I hope that doesn't happen here. I hope they put everything they can into Dragon Ball Super. It is 2015, guys. Let's do the best we can. So my thoughts on the episode: it did a good job in establishing, Pilaf, and it did a good job in kind of establishing what appears to be some kind of relationship between Pilaf, Shu, Mai, Goten, and Trunks. Even though we saw the Trunks and Mai relationship blossom, for lack of a better term, in Battle of Gods, I think that we might see more. Now, if Pilaf does turn into kind of a quasi-good guy, and he builds a relationship with Kid Goten and Kid Trunks, and they all become this, 5-team group of, wacky, I guess, adventurous team, I don't know, wacky group, or I don't know what I'm saying, all right? But if they have these adventures together, that could be some fun in between episodes. But again, I don't want to use the word filler, because the word filler is very misrepresented in the community. There is no original manga for Dragon Ball Super. There's no Toriyama manga, so there's no such thing as filler, quote unquote. But if you're talking about padding, this is another padded episode. It went on a little tiny bit too long. They could have made these points much faster. I feel like Kai's speech to Goku wasn't really that necessary, because the Kaioshins had already told us that previously. They could have just cut that out, or just had a quick thing and that's it. It just seemed like it went on a little bit too long. But next week we will have our big fight. So all you guys who have been waiting for some action, some real fights, we're going to see it next week as Beerus lays the pipe not in the sexual way, to Goku. Anyways, thanks a lot for listening to the review. I want to know what you guys thought in the comment section, of course. Did you like the episode? I mean, the thing about me is I love Pilaf. I really love Pilaf, and I miss Pilaf in Dragon Ball Z. He was nowhere to be found in Z at all. He was just in Dragon Ball and the first GT episode, so I'm glad to see Pilaf back. So as a fan of Pilaf, I'm happy, but I just wish they would speed it along, and I do want some more Pilaf episodes down the road. So give me your thoughts on that, and are you excited about Goku versus Beerus next week? Let me know. I will catch you guys down the road.